There's blockchain technology all over the stock market, fam.
I mean, we're in the like 1999, 200 million users of crypto right now, right? And there's 8 billion people on the planet. So I don't feel like they're in it. You know what I mean? I feel like there's a huge part of the global population that is definitely not
I
in
don't
it.
think you
And
understand, bro. I don't know how things are on the Solana side,
that is definitely
but
not
on the
I'm not
I'm gonna give you
Solana.
the DeFi side of things. The whole DeFi space, and I can speak for the whole DeFi space, is not excited for regulation. The whole crypto, real deal crypto, like OGs, are not excited. There's no one excited for regulation except Americans that if the fucking government tells them to turn right, they turn right and stomp their fucking feet and listen, bro. If they tell them to run, they run. Jump, jump. Like, those are the only people excited about regulation. Any whale I know, anyone with big money in this space, is probably going to sell when regulation comes. You know that Watcher Guru account that posts all the news all the time? They're going to post nonstop when regulation is here that a whale with $300 million in Bitcoin or ETH transferred to Coinbase, transferred to Binance, we're going to see that shit go crazy. Like, go crazy. Like, guys, I hate talking about this so much. I really do, but like, a lot of these whales are terrorists, drug dealers, drug lords, cartels, like Tron. You guys know the token Tron? Like, that's the favored one by the cartel, straight up. Now, I know that for a fucking fact. There's so many of these fucking coins that we're just gonna see all these fucking whales exit, guys, and a lot of this money is not some nerds sitting with their thumb in their ass at home playing World of Warcraft and talking to us on Spaces. I can promise you guys that. We gotta look at the times that these things pumped, guys. A lot of the success we saw from Bitcoin, I literally watched happen with my own eyes as the Syrian civil war went on. Like when Libya's government revolted, Egypt's government started going crazy, Lebanon's, Syria's, all that shit, all those uprisings between 2009 and all the way through the pandemic. I watched crypto get affected and go up. I watched it go down, and something awful would happen. A bomb would blow up or something, and crypto would go up. It was the weirdest shit on earth. Like, so weird. I told a friend about this. They didn't believe me. They went back and started looking at the charts. All that money is going to exit. Like, even let's just say regulation comes and all these people come. It's not, I don't feel like, how do I explain this? I just don't feel like it's going to pump our bags. I really don't. Regulation's going to regulate the market. We're not going to see the volatility we used to see. We're not going to see Ethereum go from $700 to $4,800 or $300 to $5,000 again. We're really not. When regulation is in full effect. Now, do I think it's going to come in waves? Yes. When regulation is in full effect. This regulation comes and there's a lot of stuff that's done in our favor. It's a lot better than whatever the fuck Elizabeth Warren and Gary Gensler are planning. But regardless of all that, me personally, I'm going to make as much money as I can now and just be ready to fucking exit when it's here and keep whatever I don't care about to maybe be living off that 3% a year, just like the sheep that are getting finessed by their brokers in the stock market. That's what's going to happen to crypto.
Well, I don't want to, drag the conversation.
No, I'd love to, bro. I want to be convinced otherwise, fam. I do. I swear to God, I do. No, I'd love to, bro.
If you look at like what's happened, there's still a lot of volatility happening in geopolitical issues right now. I mean, raging from. Oh, you guys were talking about some things that are happening in Ukraine, in Taiwan. There's a lot of reasons for government, associated money to be flowing into crypto. I think the reason why Bitcoin pumped the way that it did is because a lot of people were getting fucking checks by the U.S. government, and they didn't know where to put that money. And then they had NFTs doing $5 billion in trading in 1 month in January 2022. Like there was just an influx of available cash that degenerates got a hold of, and that coincided with a lot of people, government agencies or whatever you want to say, also saying, hey, we'll help these people lose their money and continue to pump their bags, and we'll sell the top. And that's what they did. I'm not saying that they weren't part of it. I'm just saying that equally right now there's a lot of instability and geopolitical issues, and I don't see that same pump happening with Bitcoin that you're referring to, right? So that's where I find that a little confused. Now, I lean on the side of Kathy Ark. I mean, Ark Investment, Kathy Wood, really smart. I think she's really got some great points about how, that I lean on that side of the argument, basically. And I really believe that, there's a lot of people with a lot of money that are just waiting for clarity, legislation, to invest into the crypto industry, into the crypto companies, into people. I think what we could both agree on is that it's really important to encourage our peers, our friends, our family to just take their, be responsible and don't enter this space as a get rich quick, but really make informed decisions.
Sir, how long have you been in the crypto space?
About 2
Okay,
years.
let's go back 2 years.
How
Just
long
have you been in the crypto space? What was Gary Gensler saying about Ethereum and Bitcoin 2 years ago? He was pro crypto. What was Gary Gensler saying about Ethereum? He was saying that,
I mean, when he was
not all crypto.
what was he teaching at Stanford, right?
2 years ago, fam. He was saying that ETH is not a security, Bitcoin is not a security. We're not banning, because China and Russia started banning and playing all kinds of games, remember? We're not banning because
For
China
sure.
and Russia
I mean,
started
he was very cautious with what he was saying. At the time.
Yes,
very cautious.
when did he start gunning for crypto? How long ago would you say? When did he start gunning for crypto? How long ago?
When there started to be some real, I'm trying to think about specific instances where when centralized exchanges had problems with their liquidity. It wasn't. I mean, it was way before FTX, but
Yep.
when people were getting wrecked, basically, and that's going to come down on him. Hey, you're not.
People are getting
enough
wrecked
to
because of
protect
him.
people.
People are getting wrecked because of him. People are
No,
getting
but
wrecked.
that's what it looks like, and he knows it does. It's not a matter of what actually happened. It matters.
Can
how
I
it
tell you
looks.
when they started gunning for crypto, fam?
It's not a matter of what actually happened. It matters.
January of 2022, after the last all-time high.
Please.
When tensions started to rise between Russia and Ukraine, and there was about to be a war, when they were preparing sanctions, he started gunning for crypto. The war started, Ethereum went to $2,800, bounced right the fuck back to 3,000. They kept fighting the government, kept fighting it so damn hard, and then Luna's what ultimately fucked us. But before Luna fucked us, they were gunning for it so hard. Why? Why did they start pushing this regulation stuff? Why did they start gunning for it so hard? Why did they start pushing this because crypto was going to be used with sanctions. Us sanctioning Russia and Russia turning around saying, go fuck yourselves, I'm going to use Bitcoin. With sanctions. Us sanctioning Russia. They don't care about us, fam. They don't. They don't care about us getting scammed. They don't pumped and dumped on, rugged. None of that. What they do care about is that people in people in these third world countries started seeing generational wealth. There's a lot of young, new money in the United States of America not joining their scam colleges and their scam whatever the fuck they're selling us, having their lives changed, changing their parents' lives. Wall Street bets, that whole thing that ignited every fucking market to pump, they hated every bit of that. And there was not much they could do about it. We saw Robinhood play games. We saw Coinbase play games. We saw Crypto.com play games. Whose order FTX was playing games? Whose order were they playing games under? Under Gary fucking Gensler and the United States government. A lot of people's lives were changed, bro. A lot. And they hate it. But what they hate the most is not getting their money from money laundering. Their cut and share out of the money laundering that's been going on. Because a lot of money laundering goes on in crypto. More than all you nerds can imagine. And these sanctions are the biggest fucking deal. More than all you nerds can imagine.
I think
Guys,
what
real
they
quick,
really go ahead,
real quick,
Prophet.
Nachi. I know you only like $20 haircuts, but real quick,
What they really
if you
go ahead,
haven't
bro.
already, like, comment, retweet. This space is really good. This is a really good space. Once again, stimulation at an all-time high. So let's keep it up. I appreciate each and every single one of you. And real quick,
They want a nigga, they gon' have to send a sweat team. And I'm going out like Scarface in his last scene of legend. What that mean? Real niggas gon' die.
that's how we feel about regulation. Nachi, go ahead.
No, so I agree that they don't really care about us, and I'm right there with you, bro. What I think they really want to stay in power. Like that's the problem with almost all of politics is they're in this constant loop of how can I find the balance between keeping the status quo while also staying in a position of power so I can continue to suck the teats of my position. And you have people that once people start getting wrecked enough and they know that election cycles are coming up and their position is going to be a byproduct of hot topics and things being said in the media, then they're going to start taking action in conjunction. And I agree with you, Brooks, that they want a piece of the pie. The government wants to make sure people are paying their taxes. They also want to make sure that if there is any money, like even what happened a couple months ago, a lot of people were laughing about this big thing that the U.S. government announced about turning off this website, that was a Russian-backed website. But a lot of I can't remember the name of the platform, but it was no laughing matter. This is a serious thing that happened about 2 months ago, because this was a peer-to-peer trading platform, and what essentially they did was they made it harder for people to trade fiat for crypto off of offline, and that's what they're going after, and that's part of regulation, and it's super scary. But I don't feel that at the end of the day we're going to be in a position where when if we were playing our cards smart and well, and we weren't being stupid trying to hide shit from the government, because that doesn't work. Don't ever try to fuck with the government. They're going to figure it out. You're going to pay them. You're going to be paying way later, a lot more later. But the regulation is going to make a lot of folks more comfortable about investing money into the ecosystem. I think that's his baseline. That's his, it's hard for me to be convinced otherwise. Now, for centralization and for people's privacy, I think there's a lot at risk. Of course, it's not nice to think about all of the ethos of blockchain technology and crypto, and what's at risk there. I think even the Tornado Cash developer is still in jail after a year. It's fucking terrifying, right? Like, it's a double-edged sword.
Fam, can you name one thing that the government does well for us? Fam, can you name one thing that the government does
Well,
well
I think
for
what they
us?
do well for us is they provide a capitalist environment where competition can thrive, innovation can excel, and I'm not saying that it's perfect or works well, but compared to other ecosystems, like other environments where you look at like Russia or North Korea or China, that the restrictions there are I think we can't even really imagine until you actually live there. But you can laugh at it, but you know what I mean. I'm grateful to be able to live in an environment where I can make my own luck, I can make my own way, and innovate and build if I want to.
How
Let me jump in on that super quick, because this is one piece of, I'm not gonna try to make statements on like the stuff about stockbrokers and all of that. I'm not as familiar with that world and with the DeFi world as you are, Books. But on the point of like being free to innovate, one of the problems that I see with the way that the regulatory landscape is headed is that it's actually going to make it practically impossible to innovate in Web3 without heavy VC bags. And like that can really fuck some shit up for like independent innovators.
that's happening now, by
Like,
the way. Like that's now
and it's
it's really
happening.
going to start
Here's the
happening.
thing, like, there
That's
there
happening
are
now,
there
by the
are
way. Like that's
obviously very
now it's
successful
really going to
VC
start
backed
happening.
projects in the space.
That's
I don't
happening
even
now,
have
by the
to
way. That's
say
now it's
the
really
one
going to
that
start
everyone
happening.
thinks of immediately, but like
That's happening now.
That's one way to do it, sure. But the problem is that, like, when you view even the fucking cheapest options that are out there right now to like guarantee or even come close to like guaranteeing regulatory compliance. I looked at one of these fucking documents. This is probably more for coins right now, more so than NFTs, but that shit costs probably upwards of several $100,000 to be compliant. So it's like, okay, you want to come in and innovate as someone who doesn't already have substantial bags? GG. You want to come in and innovate?
Damn, let me like here's the thing, right? Amazon, for example. Here's the thing, right? They were buying crypto, Amazon, for example, before they ever announced they were buying crypto. Sony, Toshiba, Hilton Hotels, fucking Johnson and Johnson, 7-Eleven, McDonald's, all these institutions, all these banks have been buying cryptocurrency, whether they announced it or didn't announce it, and they bought it well before they announced it, if they did. They do it under anonymous other names that don't link back to them at first, all kinds of crazy shit. This is the thing. Bitcoin, for example, right, is something that does 50, 100 million, billion, $50 billion, sorry, $50 billion 24 in the last 24 hours. It does around that amount every single fucking day. That's a lot of money to be going in and out of anything. It does around that amount every single fucking day. Right or wrong? That's a lot of money to be going in and out of. So who says these institutions haven't been accumulating this whole time? If you think that any financial institution is going to come into this space when regulation is here and pump our bags, you are out of your fucking mind. I don't know what to tell you. We're gonna pump their bags. We're pumping their bags by. I don't know what to tell you. When I say we, I mean retail traders. I know there's some people up here that have never lost before. They only win in this space. They only buy when it's low and sell when it's high. Because you guys could predict the future and all. When I say we, I mean retail traders. Retail traders were panicking like hell this last summer when ETH was at $700 something. That's when they started buying. These institutions that are going to come pump our bags when regulation is here, they were buying in the $700 institutions that are going to come. How do I know that? Because it almost felt like overnight we went from 700 to 2,000. Something that we couldn't do in the last 3 months was even go from 1,000 to 2,000. We're at $1,650, almost $1,700. That happened in like 2 days over the summer. Why was no one on the internet or on any of these news articles talking about what brought us from $750 or $780 to $2,000 that quickly? Then we went down to like $1,700 because of the people that got nervous and started running away. Then the FTX situation happened, and that brought us down to the $1,000 range, and we've since fought back and got back up to where we're at now. Now, whatever the next catalyst is, best believe that institutions are going to get us there. Institutional money is going to get us there, and then we're going to start seeing all the retail traders that got wrecked over the summer, got wrecked over the last 5-6 years, buying in when ETH is at 4,000, Bitcoin's at 60,000, Doge is back at 60 cents, and it's just the name of the game. It's how it goes down. Doge is back at 60 cents. So I really don't understand what you think is going to happen when regulation is here, because it's like, I really hate to break it to you, but it's definitely not what you're thinking. It's like, I really hate to break it to you. Ahmed, what up?
Oh, yeah.
And guys, by the way, like, this is all for everyone listening. It's all speculation. I'm not right. Nachi's not right. We don't fucking predict the future. We just don't agree with each other. I don't not like the guy. He's not my enemy because I don't agree with him. So please, we got to learn how to kind of do this type of shit.
We live in such a soft society that you got to say that kind of disclaimer.
Facts.
FYI.
I do believe I'm right. He
From the
believes
person
he's
that
right.
you rise every fucking day.
What up, Ahmed? Facts.
FYI.
All right.
I do believe I'm right.
Interesting. I feel like I was in third grade with my hand up. Profits. All right. Interesting.
What's up? How you guys?
Yo, where you been? been, pal? What the fuck you got
I've
going
been
on? You over
busy.
here
I
launching
know,
some
I
shit? You
know,
go
I know,
fucking
I
miss
know.
it?
I've been busy.
Pal?
I've
What
been
the
busy.
fuck? What the
I miss you guys. Hope you guys are all well. I've been joining the space, so I just haven't been going up and ranting. Anyways, to save my airtime. So I'll keep this rant as small as possible. I heard the word infrastructure and institutional investment in the space and whatnot. First of all, substantial brands and conglomerates have already built infrastructure in the space. I'll use one off the top of my head, AWS. AWS has supported and deployed and infrastructure over 75 different blockchains. Some of our favorite ones that I won't mention. Okay? Microsoft, IBM, Apple, substantial companies, I'm not going to go into the list, have already begun infrastructure, this quote unquote infrastructure that we all talk about, that is only going to come when regulation is here. Now, I would be lying if I said, do I think that new infrastructure wouldn't come if regulation is imminent? Absolutely, it's going to come. But let's not be so naive to start these conversations of, oh, well, when regulation starts Wednesday, everybody and their mother is going to pour into the space because they said it's okay. Guess what? Your favorite hedge funds, your favorite top 500 spy companies are already here. They're not waiting for regulation. They're already utilizing this technology. I heard logistics and authentication, all this stuff, and touts shouted it out, but that's just use case of the technology. That's not regulation. We don't need regulation to be able to use the tech as it's been meant to be used, or to innovate ways for the tech to be used. And then fundamentally as well, we talked about, someone just brought up, oh, well, there was a lot of checks being passed around in COVID. If you think that $200 that they were passing around, or $500 or $1,000 had a substantial dent in the market, go back and just look on how micro and macroeconomics works in any space for that matter before you justify that. What we saw then wasn't so much an influx of like government money, maybe bits and pieces, absolutely, because money was
Bro,
basically
you
free.
disagreed with me about this when I first told you this
I
shit.
did.
You remember
I
that
did.
shit, bro?
Yo, but
It's so real,
when I
bro.
first
Tell
told
me,
you yeah, you're right.
you remember
I
that
did.
shit, bro?
I do. That's what I'm saying. I am. But then second to that, what I want to say is as well is that those past few years weren't so much just a rush of income and surplus of income. It was like the dot-com bubble all over again. Not in that exact maybe analogy, but to the point where like everybody was trying to get into it because they just wanted to make money. Just like when the dot-com in '01 and '02 and '03, everybody was making a dot-com company because it was the thing to do. Maybe not the direct analogy, but my point was it was just an influx of conversation and popularity that people wanted to jump into something because there was people who were being made millionaires overnight. Regulation is coming. Let's just change the conversation quick. It's imminent. It's not going to come. The conversation that we do need to have is how do we make regulation work for us now? It's not saying going on Capitol Hill and protest, or on Parliament Hill here in Canada and protest. No. I heard books and I jumped in talk about Bitboy. It's putting people like Bitboy in front of people that we need them to knock down these barriers for us. It's not so much regulation is going to come and my mom and grandmother and aunt and uncle and brother and sister, they're going to be safe now. How? Credit card scams and fraud is an ongoing thing. It only gets bigger and bigger every single year. Some might argue, yeah, but you call the credit card company to get your money back. Not always. If the bank got robbed tomorrow and your money was sitting in that bank account and the government couldn't give you your money, you're only insured for $100,000. You got $1 million in there. Where's the 900 grand going? As a regulator, this naivety of like regulation being this like Superman that's coming into the space, and there's going to be no more malicious links and wallet drains and is falsified. All it's going to do is potentially, and I say that heavily, hold those people accountable if they're caught. If, big emphasis on the if. Is regulation going to be good for the space? My honest opinion, absolutely not. Why? Because it's not going to allow us to continue to unflourish this the way it was like meant to be. There's going to be control. There's going to be legalities. There's going to be bodies of government with self-interest in the space that's only going to want to work for them only. I'm going to speak as a Canadian citizen, love my country, but if I go right now and go on Binance, I can't use it. Someone mentioned in this space 2 weeks ago, Coinbase issued out a letter. I didn't get it, so I'm just speaking from what I heard. But if you didn't sign X, Y, and Z and follow X, Y, and Z, you could no longer use Coinbase. we can only purchase 30,000 Canadian dollars, which is 25K USD of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and whatever else they approved a year, per year. Anything else, if I want to buy ApeCoin as a quote-unquote altcoin, it is considered illegal.
Ahmed, mark my words, that 25K or 30K is going to go down every year for the next 25
I
years.
don't doubt it. Just sum up and I'll shut up. I don't want to rant, even though Prophet said, come back, we miss your rants. But my point is regulation can and will potentially protect some of us, but for the potential, for the space itself, it is going to cause nothing but headaches. Just to kind of give you a good analogy, look at privacy policies and laws. Look on how that's consistently changing and evolving, and the limitations it's causing companies and people and users. It's only going to cause blockades. It's only going to cause infrastructures to not grow, and it's going to cap a lot of our use case, a lot of our transactions, our interactions, our innovation, our infrastructure growth. And yeah, I'll leave it there. Hope you guys are all having a great day. Sorry for my TED Talk.
Guys, like decentralized, like if it, decentralized Web3 is going to be the new dark web when regulation comes. It's gonna totally destroy anything decentralized because regulation is as centralized as fuck. And crypto is a global asset, right? It's a global market. It's not just a U.S. thing. But
Can I reply to that real quick?
what do you want to reply to?
Well, because
Amir,
Ahmad was talking like, can I reply to that real quick? Well, Ahmad was talking like
$1,200
checks. Listen,
Let's say $1,200.
yeah, exactly. It was
It did nothing for the market. It did not dent the
about
market.
800. Yeah, exactly. $800 billion was given across multiple cycles. Okay, if you could look up the data, that's a lot of pasta. We're not talking about a couple, and that was 1,400 per person plus dependents.
Prophets, let me. I mean, Books, sorry to interrupt you, Nachi, but Books, let me respond to this after.
Absolutely.
Hey, where'd the rest of the trillions go, Nachi, if you're really gonna sip that Kool-Aid, brother?
No, I'm hold on.
Like, let's talk data, man. You really
hold on.
said 800 billion.
I want to hear. I want to hear his
Like,
response.
let's
I would love
talk
to
data.
respond.
No,
Hold on. I want to hear.
No, that's all I'm saying is like when you said $200 checks, I'm like, wait a minute, man. It's not like that.
Sure.
Listen, I know a lot of people that get 6,000, 10,000 because they have family members. It's not like that. I mean, multiple cycles, not just one time, not just one. Like, hey, you know, they gave 2 rounds of stimulus checks with people that had multiple dependents and the savings, you know, that they were living on, or they had jobs that weren't affected. They just simply worked from home. I mean, you make it sound like 800 billion just went into thin air.
Sure.
It
Hold on,
did.
Scott. Hold on, please, Scott. Let me answer. Nachi, my friend. Sure. Do you know anybody that received those stimulus checks? Like anybody close to you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
I got them, but my family members.
I was gonna ask you, but I'm not gonna ask you that personal question. Let's just say a friend of yours received that stimulus check, right? Now, correct me if I'm wrong here, but those stimulus checks were issued out to low-income families and families struggling during COVID, correct?
You had to have it less than $120,000.
But
it was on a scale.
But that was the household.
And that was yearly income. That was your tax.
That was the household
from the year
income.
before. It was on a exactly.
So yearly income. Stay with me for a second. So household income had to be less than 120K, and you qualify for those payments, correct? Now, the issuance of those payments, were they for you to go invest in the cryptocurrencies or buy NFTs, or were they to be able to pay rent, buy food, pay for your electricity bill? And in theory, okay, let's sit here and say some people. Hold on, sorry, bear with me.
People did what they wanted.
You're right. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. Bear with me for a second. One of the biggest debt deficits was created in 2020, 2021, and 2022, right? Most of these families, let's just say a substantial, I'm no economist, a substantial amount of those families actually relied on every single dollar to buy food, put food on the table, pay rent, pay bills, and catch up, right? Businesses that took it was to stay afloat, pay their employees, pay their rent, and stay afloat. Do you think that even with the $800 billion metric, that even if we fractionalize that into your average rate, let's just say 4%, that of the $800 billion could have put a dent into the Web3 space, into the macroeconomics of cryptocurrency?
You can't even hold on. You can't even say that into the stock market. You have so many other investment options besides cryptocurrency too. That very small percent, don't say thank you, would not dent, bro.
Yeah, there you go.
The whole ecosystem was only had a market cap of 2 trillion.
Fam, I'm not talking
right?
about the crypto ecosystem. I'm talking about the stock market. I'm talking about real estate in a country where nearly 70% of the country was living paycheck to paycheck before receiving any kind of money, right? Nearly 70% of this country is living paycheck to paycheck. Like, holy shit, I just got 1,200 I could start a savings account with. Holy shit, I just got 1,200 I could put towards the 3 months late credit cards, 3 month late car payment, 3 month late rent that I have, or whatever it is. Let's just say, right? Fuck it, yo. I'll give you, let's say 8% of that money. 8% of it went into the housing market, the stock market, the crypto market, I'll even include NFTs and all that in the crypto market, the sports gambling market, the casino market, the cigarettes and alcohol market. Like, there's so many markets that just 7% or 10% or whatever it is can go into that's not going to dent the crypto market. However, whales, institutions, all these institutions that y'all think are going to come and pump us during regulation, they bought up from that $300 Ethereum. What was Bitcoin at? 3,000? What was the Bitcoin number prior? $3,500. They pumped it so hard, making us think that it is pumping because people are putting their stimulus checks and their extra 600 in unemployment into it, as to where, yes, that 7 to 10% may have bought ETH at $4,000, 3,500, didn't dent it. It continued pumping because there are people out there that have money. They don't need a stimulus check or extra 600 in unemployment to pump the market, and it continued pumping. Extra 600 in unemployment.
I brought this
But
up.
the institutions got in.
You know,
That's my point.
All of that,
but the institutions got in.
all of the money that could have possibly got, because like that 800 bill, like Book said, like ain't shit of that actually go into the fucking crypto market. Maybe like a percent, if even. Fuck, even if it was 2%, 2-3%, right? It can't be more than that. Not. I'd put money on that not being possible. That it's like more than 2 to 3%. And
Also-
that compared, like think about it, like, you know, one bank, like fucking, you know, Goldman Sachs, like one bank can come in and dump multiples of that in like a single quarter, and the 800 billion total out of which,
Yidi, we gotta
of
zoom out,
course,
fam, too.
yeah.
Like, out of the $1,200 stimulus check, they put $10 into crypto. We don't even know how much of the check they put in. Like, we gotta really, like, this is how
Yo, I
stupid it
found
sounds.
data. Yo, guys, I found data.
We gotta really, like,
Let's go.
this is how
Round
stupid it
6%.
sounds. Went into crypto or into investing, period.
Oh, yeah. No, of crypto.
Went into crypto or into very close.
Also, you guys can't forget the Bitcoin halving was 2020, so that was also a catalyst for crypto prices potentially going up.
And furthermore, I just wanted to say
So
one last
again,
thing.
Books, I brought this up because you were saying that due to geopolitical conflict, that there was government-backed money being invested into crypto during that 2021.
Hold on. Can you please elaborate on that?
During that, I am. I'm just. This is what I heard from you. You were saying, my friend was telling me this, and I didn't really believe him. And then a bomb would go off here.
No. I was telling my friend about this, and not in 2021, not in 2020, and it was definitely not governments pumping the market. And not in 2021. I don't know if you misheard me when I said that. Definitely not governments pumping. I said I have watched Bitcoin pump due to these fucking uprisings and all this fucking terroristic shit and awful shit that has happened in the last 10, 15 years. 10 to 12, maybe 13 years. That has happened in the last 10, 15 years.
And I brought up the fact that there's still a lot of things happening, and we don't see that same pump happening at the same time.
Dude, are you, hold on. We have, bro. We have. What do you mean?
happening at the
Dude,
same
are
time.
you hold on?
What do you mean? What do I mean? You mean from the things that are happening in Taiwan to the things that are happening in Ukraine? We've seen a pretty steep decline.
What happens
if
when
anything.
all this stuff we've seen a decline in the stock market, not in the crypto market. What happens when the crypto market, no matter what war or what bad thing happens, has not been impacted. The stock market has. The crypto market's holding pretty damn steady, if you ask me. The crypto
From
market's
60
holding pretty
Bitcoin,
damn
60,000 to
steady.
20,000.
60,000 to 20,000 has
down 90
nothing to do with uprising.
From 60 Bitcoin.
Bro, that
Well,
happened. That happened like
60,000 to
around.
20,000
That
has
happened like.
nothing to do with
I
uprising.
mean, part of it happened pre FTX, but like a lot of that happened because of like what?
Because of the
Luna,
U.S.
yeah,
government and Luna.
Luna, and then like
Because of the U.S. government.
the cherry on top of fucked up shit was FTX.
Yo, guys, I'm a
the cherry on top of fucked
if
up
Luna and FTX did not happen, we'd be in great shape. We probably would have hit a new all-time high or gotten close at the end of the year. And we probably would have been at all-time high range again for the Bitcoin halving. Like just a Bitcoin halving does not mean
this is blowing my mind.
Yeah,
Look,
just a Bitcoin halving.
No, how do you think like monetary, how they're approaching inflation and raising interest rates and all these things that are happening? I mean, Bitcoin has been so closely tied.
It has not, fam. It has not.
to the
They
stock
want it to
market.
be. They can. Yo,
They want it to
it's
be, but
so
to say that it has
manipulated.
not,
It's so
not as
corrupt
bad.
and manipulated. They can. Yo,
I'm not. I agree with you, but to say that it's not,
fam, it's
true.
not.
It actually
It's not.
is.
The second that crypto starts trading, yo, dude, please, man, please don't take what I say. You don't know me. You haven't been listening to me for a while. I'm not one of those people that's gonna come up here and say I haven't been wrong. Please listen, dude, and take what I tell you and start thinking with a very open mind about things, and you're going to understand me a lot more. Okay. Now, what was the last thing you said?
That Bitcoin and the stock market have been trading very much in
The
tandem for the
second
last year.
that the crypto market starts drifting away and trading with no correlation to the stock market, something very bad happens, or they go on a gigantic FUD campaign to get it back in sync with the stock market. The United States' biggest fucking fear is for the stock market to crash and the crypto market to flourish, because it's going to drive people to their banks to pull their money out and want to put it into cryptocurrency and not believe the government more and more. And that's the United States' worst nightmare, because TD Bank is worse than Sam Bankman-Fried. Chase Bank, Bank of America, every fucking bank that we know is worse than FTX. They're doing worse than FTX. And they're going to be exposed if that happens.
There's no argument there. I completely agree with you, bro. But all I'm saying is that because of Luna and what happened with FTX, we would be at all-time highs. I completely disagree. I think risk on
No.
assets
We
has
could
taken a
have
major
hit
hit
all-time
due to
highs. We would have been in much better shape.
We could have hit all-time
I'm gonna take a slightly different approach to that and say that based on some stuff that I've heard from people who know more than me, we probably wouldn't have hit those same all-time highs quite as fast. But I think if that growth, because a lot of that growth apparently was like propped up by shit like FTX and other actors that were just like doing fucked up shit, which led to all of this nonsense. But I'd argue that if it hadn't been that, yeah, maybe we wouldn't have hit Bitcoin at fucking 69K, but we would have had steadier growth that would have continued instead of a big fucking crash.
Fam, I'm gonna let me just rewind and remind you guys of something. Fam, I'm gonna let me just when the Ukraine war was brewing between January and April of 2022. Ethereum was on its way down to the $3,500 range. The Ukraine war erupted. The Russia-Ukraine war erupted. They fudded the fuck out of us. The stock market crashed. Ethereum went down to $2,900, maybe high $2,800 range. Didn't even last. It pumped right back up to 3,000. Maybe high. At the end of April, other side burned a fuck ton of ETH. Did a lot of damage. At the end of April, other side Ethereum was looking great. The Fed meeting at the beginning of May was supposed to be the end-all be-all. The Fed meeting, the market's going to crash. We're doomed. Gary Gensler is going to raise rates. All this crazy shit is going to happen. Nothing happened. I think we pumped. And then Luna just straight up, it was almost like Gary was so sick of the stock market going down and crypto, nothing is happening even with that Fed meeting that was going to be the end-all be-all. Like he pressed a button on his desk and said, okay, it's time to make Luna explode. And boom, Luna exploded. You could call me crazy for this, but I really, that's how much I don't trust these people. Luna explodes, we come flying down. Everyone's selling. Ethereum went to $780. They continued fudding the fuck out of it. I remember all the technical analysis experts that have been invested in Bitcoin and cryptocurrency since the late 80s and early 90s came out of their fucking graves, cleaned their spider webs off, talking about ETH is going to double digits, each ETH is going to 200, 300, triple digits. Everyone's making their predictions. And guys, with the snap of a finger, we watched that shit go to $2,000. Then there was that end of month CPI numbers in end of July or August, I forget when it was. That was going to be the end all be all. We're going back to 3 digits from 2000 now. Coinbase got the phone call from Gary Gensler and Elizabeth Warren and all the corrupt government people. Hey, Coinbase, you need to announce and get all the press ready that you're going to unlock your stake ETH on Coinbase. This is all at the end of the summer. Coinbase fucking all over the place. Stake ETH is unlocked on Coinbase, all over the news. Mt. Gox is releasing $3 billion on the market of funds that were taken from Mt. Gox. They didn't tell us when. I don't even think the funds have been released yet. But they made it seem like it was happening now at the time. They didn't tell us next month, next week, next year. They said they are releasing the $3 billion. And we got flooded to about $1,700. FTX came and absolutely demolished us. Straight demolished us. And that's what brought us back down to the $1,000 range. There was volatility in the middle where, again, crypto wants to break out. Crypto wants to do whatever it can. Pump to 1,500, back to 1,200, up to 1,400, then to 1,700, and we're sitting where we are today with a crypto that wants to break. This market, this whole thing is not a bull. For all the people saying, I think we've reached a bottom, we reached a bottom when it was $1,000. Sorry to break it to you. This crypto market right now is dying to break out. But manipulation and corruption is the only thing preventing it. Do I think we've done a better job with panicking as retail traders and not dumping the market and impacting the market? 100%. If this was to have happened 3 years ago, we'd probably have hit 3 digits. Now, something people aren't taking into consideration is all that has happened over the last 3 years. DeFi market absolutely exploded. Guys, that mass adoption that y'all are waiting for, DeFi market, you guys are waiting for CNN, Decrypt, Benzinga, and all these crypto news sources to come out and say, mass adoption here, January 30th of 2026, mass adoption is coming to a crypto near you. That'll be the day of mass adoption. I don't know if that's what you guys are thinking, but that mass adoption has been happening. It's been accumulating for 14 years. The first big mass adoption in crypto was 2017, 2018. The second big one was 2020. Then the NFT boom, the DeFi boom of 2021 and 2022. It's been slowly happening. People have been coming to the fucking space. Volume has slowed down due to Luna and FTX. Do I believe that volume would have slowed down if Luna and FTX didn't happen? no, volume would have fucking went crazy. It may have been a little slow, nowhere near as how this last summer went, but during the summer it might have slowed down a little bit, and then it would have blew up when the East 2.0 merger happened. Now imagine we had the volume that we had at the end of 2021 at the end of 2022. We burned 3 million. Instead of adding a fuck ton of ETH to the supply, we burned 3 million. Instead of adding, imagine how much we would have burned with a fuck ton of volume because Luna and FTX did not run. Crypto would have been, I'm going to reiterate, crypto would have been in a much, much better spot than it is today if those two events did not fucking happen. Now, do you understand me a little better, Yidi? If those two events did not fucking happen.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Like I think that ETH would have been in the $3,000 range, just to throw it out there. We could have tested all-time high levels at the end of last year.
I mean, I would have. The thing that I was arguing is that like it kind of goes in a similar direction to that, right? Like I wouldn't. I won't predict prices on anything, but like that's kind of what I was thinking. We may not have hit like like nearly 5K or whatever, but like we might well be at fucking 3K right now if we hadn't had all of that shit happen.
People don't seem to realize like the whole Bitcoin halvening stuff, right? Bitcoin's cyclical. Every 4 years there's a Bitcoin halving. Guys, that doesn't mean that Bitcoin needs to go to $3,000 and ETH needs to go to $300. Matter of fact, the Bitcoin halving could happen with Bitcoin at $65,000 and ETH at $5,000. And if it happens at levels like that, and ETH at it's going to be the craziest thing we've ever seen. If it happens at levels like that, what we're expecting is not what always happens. So I'll give you guys an example. We're expecting crypto to tank. I'll give you guys an example. And then the Bitcoin halving happens in 2 years. But instead, what happens is all those retail traders that are expecting it to tank get wrecked and end up buying again and making that same mistake that they made for the last 5 years, buying it after it pumps or reaches a new high or whatever it is. So we gotta get realistic, guys. We're doing straight up. We're doing a terrible job onboarding people by being very unrealistic, pitching them this fucking world that's about to get destroyed by the government and regulations. It's about to get wrecked. Like that freedom, you are your own bank, and with crypto, you don't need to answer questions to nobody. Then your friend's like, hey, man, you told me I didn't need to answer questions, and I'm my own bank, but Coinbase just asked me for the 19th time this week to send them a selfie holding up a piece of paper with today's date on it in one hand and my ID in the other, and it's a real pain in the ass every time I try to take the picture. It doesn't read the picture, and it takes me an hour to fucking get this done, and it's the 9th time that they asked me to do it this week, and it takes me an hour. Like, that's not someone being their own bank. That's centralized as fuck. And I just see us losing a lot of control in the future, like losing a lot of our freedom in the future, and they're going to be controlling the hell out of us. So we got to start pitching this being a little more realistic to people, not negative, not scaring people away. I'm going to be here regardless, right? Regulation is coming. I don't think it's going to make crypto go to zero. I hope you're not misunderstanding me here, but we just got to be a little more realistic. I feel like we're fluffing a lot of shit and we're coming off like used car salesmen trying to onboard people into this space with very, very unrealistic expectations. And then people are thinking that this generational wealth is going to come. They go and buy some shitty ass NFT or shitty token and get wrecked and get rugged, and then it puts a bad taste in their mouth, and they start being toxic all over the internet. And what happens? It becomes like communities filled with people like this because they all got onboarded the wrong way, and then we look like crypto's toxic, Web3 is toxic, all those people are crazy, and that's what's happened, straight up. I think we need to change that and be a little more realistic. What up, Ahmed? Straight up.
And then one thing to add on to what both are saying too is the ecosystem of crypto and NFT and Web3 space as a whole has like evolved rapidly. Like we're just in the infancy stage, but we're not at the point where a select few amount of whales that you could probably count, not quite literally, but we're not paraphrasing it on one hand, control the market. Infrastructure has already been laid by financial institutions, hedge funds, like I said, SPY 500 companies, more retail investors. So when we're also sitting here and talking about like cuts and ups and trends and whatnot, like it's going to take a lot more for fluctuation to happen, and that's why when people
I can't hear him.
Hey, step down and come back, Nachi. Hold on, I'll bring you back up. Hold on. Is it Nachi or Mini Crotchy? Let me see. Hold on. Oh, Nachi. I'll bring you back up. Hold on.
And then furthermore, I think that fundamentally, as the space continues to grow, price action is going to fundamentally not explode the way it's been. Because guys, guess what? Like we already have a case study. Look at the equities market. Do you see stocks, unless they're reporting crazy earnings or crazy news or anything, skyrocketing 10, 15, 20%? No, it just fundamentally can't happen. It's just, if that was the case, it'd be the Wild West still. And with crypto and NFTs and everything belonging to the DeFi and the Web3 space as a whole, it's the exact same thing. As the space continues to evolve, and we're talking about regulation coming into it, yes, there's going to be more volume. Yes, there's going to be larger market. However, that fluctuation will be diminished. Why? Because it's just it's like common data metrics, right? When you have 10 people controlling something versus 100 people controlling something, it does not balance that way it was prior, right? So when people are like, oh, well, when JP Morgan and BlackRock, by the way, they're already in the space, come into the space and dump trillions of dollars, I'm going to make 100x on my half a Bitcoin. That's not the case. It's not how macroeconomics work. So it's just one thing I did want to point out. Not how macroeconomics work. So it's just
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Once again, Ahmed. Thank you for back at it again with his rants. Ahmed, ladies and gentlemen, back at it again. You rocking with Web3 Exposed. All right, let's get this show on the road, guys. First of all, again, great information. Everybody's been just contributing a lot today. Books, you're a fucking legend. Drink some water because these motherfuckers ain't worth it. Fuck all these motherfucking books. Drink some motherfucking water.
Before we get started with what we're about to do, Christian Chris 61672, he commented the crypto market crashed when Russia invaded Ukraine. All right, sir, I'm gonna hit you with some numbers real quick. On January 21st, 2022, Bitcoin was $35,000. Russia did not invade Ukraine yet. Okay, let me repeat. On January 21st, 2022, Bitcoin was 38,000. Oh, sorry, that's the 28th. Bitcoin was 38,000. Bitcoin on the 21st was $35,070. Bitcoin on the 21st and 10 cents. Was $35,070. Russia invaded Ukraine. Russia. Anyone know around when?
I believe we just passed the year anniversary last week, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
But if you want an exact date, I can stretch it.
On March 25th, on March 2022. Okay? March 25th. Bitcoin was $45,000. Bitcoin went up $10,000. On April 1st, 46,000. Bitcoin went down 46,000 to, hold on.
Books, it's February 24th, by the way, the exact date.
Yep. May 6th, or sometime in May, in the beginning of May, when Luna crashes, when Bitcoin went back down to where it was before Russia invaded Ukraine. And then the tumble started happening throughout the whole fucking summer. And we were all here for it. I really don't even need to look at the numbers to tell you anything.
Okay, Books, but do me a favor. Go to TradingView All right, and put SPY next to Bitcoin, and put it on the daily candle, and look at the correlation.
I don't
That's all I'm
disagree.
saying.
Nachi, you're not. I wish I would
I
have told you to stop a long time ago.
disagree.
Nachi, you're not. He could give a fuck about a trading view, about a line, about any of that. Even though
I'm just
you
saying.
may have a good
No,
point.
he doesn't even have a good point. I agree that crypto and the stock market correlate because they are forced to. I'm telling you, every time crypto drifts away from the stock market, something very fucking bad happens, or a massive FUD campaign goes all over the news. I'll never forget this, guys. I don't know if it was at the beginning of October. I'm reading some article, and it's like Bitcoin for the first time in several years is trading without correlating to the industrial index and something else. Like the next day or 2 days later, FTX fucking run. I swear on everything. I read that article. On Twitter Spaces with Profits and Ahmed and Tout and Shield and everyone on this stage. And I said, something bad is going to happen. Word for word. And I said, something bad is going to happen. Like, it is what it is. And then recently, I want to say a week ago, we started trading and drifting away again from the NASDAQ.
So, books, well said. Thank you. Were you done? Oh my God! All right, let's get to it. First of all, we really appreciate everybody that tunes in and is here every single day. Shield, I'm gonna fuck you up, bro, for real. Just because your boss is here doesn't mean we're gonna be nice to you. Anyway, I really am excited about this. Obviously, Parispace sponsors Web3 Exposed currently, but aside from that, I'm just excited to have a DeFi conversation along with NFTs. So without further ado, we have the Parispace team here. Very grateful for you guys. Thank you so much once again for giving us a chance and, being our first official sponsor for the show. We really
guys,
love you and
I
appreciate you
always
so
want to
much.
clarify for everyone listening. Paraspace is not an NFT project. Paraspace is not an NFT
Yeah,
project.
thanks for that, Books. Yep. Anyway, so without further ado, we have the team here. David, we got Hotline Bling, and we got Parispace, the actual page here. So let's get to it, David. You can go ahead and get started, and we could just flow through. Nothing crazy.
I'm working on that username, Books. I'm working on it. I'm working on that username.
Jen, you want to release talk?
Sure.
Jen,
You
you want
caught
to
me
release
like
talk?
as I was clearing my throat. But hey,
I
everyone.
wasn't sure if you were behind it, Jen. I'm sorry. And we got Jen behind the Parispace page. Shout out to Jen.
Jen, can you try to stand in front of it? I don't know why you're behind it. Jen, can you try to stand in front of it? I don't know why you're behind
I'll do the best that I can. I got to start getting my camera on more often.
You gotta put
because
on
I
a
know you guys are
library.
going to start doing
You
that.
gotta put on a library background and put on a wig. And just take the wig.
Dude, I don't even know if I need the wig. I think I can just like go dye my hair like blonde. I normally do that like once a year anyways. You guys just haven't seen it yet. But GM, oh my gosh, it's not even the morning. What am I talking about? The time has flown today. But good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jen. I'm the marketing director over at Parispace. David, pass it to you. David,
Hey, GM. It's always GM, Jen. Come on. Hey, head of research at Parispace. Come on. Hey, head of research at Parispace. Shield, you wanna speak
Oh
up?
yeah, well you cut off there. Hey guys, everybody. I mean, most of you guys know me already, but this is Business Shield now. I'm the community lead over at Parispace with myself and Hotline Bling, and we're your account managers. Yeah, Dylan, do you wanna? Oh, Dylan just left. I don't know what happened there, but me and Hotline Bling, we're your BD team and your account managers. So if you guys ever need anything community-wise on Discord, Twitter, anywhere else, you can reach us 24/7.
So I'll kind of get it going because you guys are just so fucking naturals at this. Why Parispaces and why did you guys start the platform?
Ooh, so I'll do my best to cover this. I wanted to get Yubo on here, but he unfortunately is in back-to-back meetings because we're pretty slammed in terms of what we're building, which I'm sure we'll get into later. But really, you know, it's interesting. So when I actually first met Yubo and he was explaining to me Paraspace, he comes from, first and foremost, he's a developer, like went to Stanford, dropped out twice, but was going for computer science and economics, started a hedge fund, like was always really fascinated by finance. And, you know, he got involved in the crypto space, I think 2020, 2021. But basically, as he started to look at the space as a whole, realized the massive potential for NFT finance. We talk about this a lot internally, and you know, I've been up on spaces a few times with you guys, and we've chatted about it. But we think, and our thesis essentially is more and more assets are going to move on chain over the next, you know, that could be the next 1 year, 2 years, next decade, next 2 decades, whatever that is. We're already slowly starting to see it. Like, I don't know if you guys know, but California DMV is exploring blockchain tech for car titles. It's really exciting. So as more and more of these digital assets move over on chain, we basically realize that the financialization layer and application layer of NFTFi is not ready to support any of that. Like, if you wanted, you know, if you owned a house and the deed to your house was an NFT, etc., you should be able to easily, permissionlessly take a loan out against it. But right now, there's not any infrastructure for that. So that's kind of really where the seed of Paraspace started, was how can we create an NFT lending system that more or less acts kind of the way the systems that we know today do. Like, if I have a car and a house and I want to go start a business, I can go to my bank and basically collateralize my house and my car, and still use my house every day and my car every day, but I'll get a massive loan that I pay off over time. And so we kind of wanted to build that system for Web3 and build the Web3 version of that. So that's kind of where Paraspace was born. And, you know, I think the really big distinction that sets us aside from everyone else is the fact that we're a cross-margin platform. It's the first on-chain permissionless cross-margin NFT lending platform that you'll find. And all that essentially means is, for the first time ever, you guys can actually collateralize multiple assets. So NFTs across the many collections we support, or even ERC20 tokens. So ETH, USDC, USDT. You can collateralize it all into a single portfolio to borrow and lend against. So that's kind of the high level. David, Hotline, Shield, did I miss anything?
Couldn't have said it better. The only thing I'll add is that you know, one of the fun bits is that Paraspace with the cross margin system basically treats all your assets as equally valuable, and we're targeting everything on chain that is truly valuable and sustained that way. And the applications are pretty amazing. So like our biggest claim to fame right now is our ape coin staking. So a bunch of ape PFPs on stage and in the audience here. So if you don't know about that, please check it out. But also the marketplace. So you know, we have buy now, pay later. So right now I have like ETH and USDC supplied to the protocol, and you know, I'm like basically holding myself back from buying another mutant right now because it's really easy to. But I'm gonna cool my heels for now. I think that, you know, even if like cross margin sounds like kind of just unusual and abstract, it's just amazing, and really pumped to continue building on Paraspace.
Yeah, I just want to add one thing in there. It's like right now, all of us, we have a lot of NFTs in our wallets that are worth a lot of money, right? Like we have our Bored Ape that are worth a lot of money, right? Like we have our Bored Ape that are worth a lot of money, right? Like we have our Bored Ape that are worth a lot of money, right? Like we have our Bored Ape that are worth a lot of money, right? Like we have our Bored Ape that are worth a lot of money, right? Like we have our Bored Ape even tapes and